Well, last night, a very important special meeting was held by the Prairie Village City Council to talk about a few petitions that residents could see on the November ballots. And what came out of that meeting, unfortunately, is what many expected to come out of that meeting, and it's not following the will of the people. Good morning. Great to be here on KCMO Talk Radio. I want to welcome on and say good morning to Lori Sharp. She is with the Stop Rezoning Prairie Village folks. She is also running for city council coming up this fall. So, Lori, good morning. Thanks for joining us. What happened last night at this special meeting? Just reset that for us and tell us what came out of it.
Good morning, Pete. Thanks for having me. It was another disappointing night going to city council again. The city council had three choices, and one was to accept the ordinance as is and make it the law, the rule of the land. The other was to accept it and let the people vote on it. And the third is the one they choose, which is a legal route. They actually came out. The room was filled. They left for executive session. They came back out and said to retain counsel to institute and defend the city's position. They voted 12-0 as they have for the last couple of years. No conversation, no discussion of anything, and that was it. The meeting was left, and people were pretty upset. We've worked really hard on these petitions for months, writing them, going back and forth on the wording with the county councilor, gathering people at the parks. We have to set up volunteers and tables and copies of the petitions and
now
highlighters.
let's just remind people too, Lori, these petitions, there were three petitions, right, that were the council was looking at last night. The first petition, and you tell me if I got this right, the first petition proposes a city ordinance to limit rezoning that would allow more than one family to live on a single family residential zoning lot. Is that right?
That's correct. It also limits the city's ability to only rezone their property, not come on to an individual's property and rezone it.
Oh, okay. All right. So that was one of the petitions. And then the other two were basically the structure of the Prairie Village city government.
That's absolutely true. They were known as kind of more the government petitions. And they all clearly had more than enough signatures that the Kansas statute requires.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you guys had the signatures that you needed. The county confirmed that. What you're asking for is to put this on the ballot in November and put it to a vote of the people in Prairie Village. And instead of doing that, the city council last night in Prairie Village decided that they were going to basically thumb their nose at all the residents who signed this petition and take some legal route to defend the status quo?
That's exactly right. 13 people voted that versus the hundreds and thousands of people who've been asking for the right to vote.
I mean, you're asking, just to be clear, and I'm going to reiterate it, but you're asking for a right to vote on something in Prairie Village. You're not asking for anything to change. You're asking for something to be placed on the ballot by the will of the people in Prairie Village.
Correct. I can live with whatever the people say. This is a true form of democracy. A grassroots effort got together and did this, and all we want to do is vote on it.
Wow. So now what happens? I mean, you got a city council that clearly does not even want to let the people decide the future of some of these, whether it's a zoning regulation or whether it's the style of government in Prairie Village. So what happens next?
Well, honestly, now the spin is happening. They said something about that they want to talk to a judge, which essentially means that they're suing. And the funny thing is they don't do that with all their other ordinances. Every ordinance they write, they don't run to a judge to see if it's correct or not. They have a lawyer there who gives their legal opinion. And there's actually been ordinances they passed that their lawyer said, didn't recommend them passing, but they did anyway. It's just another lengthy roadblock from the city.
So do you feel like you can get this thing on the ballot in November still? Is that still a realistic hope, or do they want to kind of run out the clock on this?
Well, they can try, but we have shown that hard work and grassroots Prairie Village citizens have a lot of fortitude, and we are ready to fight this, and we want it on the ballot November 1st, November 7th.
Okay. How do you fight this in the short term? I mean, they're going to go to, I guess, a judge and try to get a judge's help on this whole thing from their perspective. Is that how this will play out?
Right. I guess so. I'm not the legal mind here.
Mm-hmm.
We do have legal counsel, and we'll work with them and see what they're going to do. But we're also going to keep educating the public and hopefully, keep applying pressure with the citizens understanding what's going on and the citizens wanting to vote. So that would be more of the avenues. And we just keep hoping that a couple of the council members will realize that this is important to the citizens and maybe have a change of heart. That
would be great. Well, Lori Sharp with the Stop Rezoning Prairie Village folks, also running for city council herself this fall on KCMO. Thank you for the update, Lori. Please keep us posted on this, and we'll be following along. Thanks, as always, for the time.
Thanks for covering this important issue.
You bet. That is Lori Sharp in Prairie Village on KCMO Talk Radio. That's pretty unbelievable, right? You have a situation where the folks in Prairie Village get the signatures they need to just get this to a ballot, right? To adjust how the city just decides its rezoning processes. And what does the city council come back with last night? Well, we're going to have to challenge this thing legally. The county already approved the signatures. I mean, the county already confirmed there's enough valid signatures on each of these petitions. What the heck are you challenging? These are the same problems that exist in Overland Park, in Olathe, in Lee Summit. I mean, anyone we've talked to who's running for some of these city council races, these are the issues that people are fed up with. And credit to Prairie Village and these folks for running this grassroots operation to stop the insanity of taking, lots and places that are zoned for single family or whatever, and then saying, what would look great here? A 5-story apartment complex. No, it really wouldn't. I mean, I know it, makes developers rich, and maybe I don't want to go there, but maybe there's something in it for certain people in political power. I'll leave it at that. But for the people that live in these communities already, any of the ones I've listed, that's not why they're living there. And by the way, the people that want to move there, they generally speaking want to live in homes. If you want to live in a high rise, there's plenty of places to do that in downtown Kansas City. Most people aren't going to Prairie Village and Overland Park and Olathe to sit in a 5-story high rise. And Prairie Village does this grassroots effort and does something about it. And now their own government, despite the fact that it did everything by the book, their own government is fighting them on it. It's unbelievable.